Hello and welcome to our weekly political program on Lagos television, The Pendulum. I am Ajibola Ojeshola welcoming you as usual. Tonight we are set again to discuss a very germane issue in the polity as regards the judgment of the Apex Court in the Federal Republic of Nigeria last week, which ruled in the favor of the 774 local government areas of Nigeria, granting them financial autonomy. But since that landmark judgment by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, there have been different reactions coming from different quarters. That's our focus tonight on the Pendulum. But first of all, we'll take a very short break on the program to bring you trending news in the polity. Stay with us. You are still watching our weekly political program on Lagos television. I did say before that break that we'll be looking at that landmark judgment of the Supreme Court of Nigeria granting financial autonomy to the 774 local government areas of Nigeria. And joining us to look at this topic is Barrister Shino Ogunlano. He's a legal practitioner. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good evening, viewers. Thank you.
All right, that landmark judgment of the Supreme Court of Nigeria granting financial autonomy to the 774 local government areas in the country. How did it come to you? Was it expected? Were you surprised?
Well, I welcome it. I welcome this particular, and I think it's an achievement of the Bola Ahmed administration. I appreciate the seriousness by which the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, pursued that. I welcome it because we all are aware of the fact that local government and grassroots development is being stifled by the tyrannical and oppressive dictatorship of the states encompassing these 774 local governments before now. Everybody knows that governors hold on to their funds and dictate to those chairmen and councils are mere glorified paper tigers, as it were. Even though, yes, we blame them that when you go to various local governments, you hardly see any form of development, and they have been reduced to collecting
levies and
rent, television, clinic, and all those kind of things. But indeed, the states have been collecting the money. And you know, even the judiciary complained about this lack of financial independence and autonomy. So for me, it is good. I welcome it. In fact, it's belated. And the mere fact that it matters to be taken to court for judicial interpretation 25 years after we've started the Fourth Republic since 1999. That will just tell you the backward mindset of the kind of political elite that we have.
Okay. Just yesterday, the governor of Oyo State, Governor Seyi Makinde, in a kind of protest, did say that there is no law binding Oyo State to obey the judgment, and he did say that he's going to set up a committee, or he set up a committee rather, which is going to fashion their own way of interpreting that judgment of the Supreme Court and relate it to how he's going to handle the local government areas of Oyo State. What say you to that?
What you are saying, if indeed Seyi Makinde say that will just be another indication of what has been described.
Said the federal government is not superior to states.
In just a minute. I'm not even interested whether the superiority of the federal government or not. I'm interested in the supremacy of the law via the pronouncement of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court says this is what's going to happen. And somebody now starts somewhere and says, we are going to interpret it and see what we can make of it. That's executive rascality, executive lawlessness. And well, it's not that's not the first time in Oyo State, really. If you go back to about 10 years ago or 15 years ago under President Obasanjo, when a governor, that's Ladoja, was impeached and everything, and then the thing went up to Supreme Court and the thing was reversed. There are some people now still went to one high court in Ibadan trying to interpret what the judgment of the Supreme Court has meant. I won't expect any serious jurist, whether retired or serving or lawyer, to support that kind of a thing. If the Supreme Court is the apex court, and the infallibility of the Supreme Court is not because they cannot be in error, but simply because that's the last court. So when the Supreme Court has, so you want to choose which pronouncement to obey and which one not to obey. And so which kind of precedent is this setting or is it following? Where Supreme Court has said something. So assuming that it were to be a lower court, let's say a court of appeal or a high court, will it set up a panel to be looking at how to interpret, or will it appeal? Set up a panel that shows that you are dissatisfied. Will you have set up a panel? That's the question for Makinde. It's not that's my state. So will you have set up a panel to be looking at this pronouncement came from a high court or from a court of appeal? What you do is that you go and appeal. Now that you can't appeal,
because it's the Supreme Court.
It's the Supreme Court. So it's not so the argument is jejim, it's childish, it's beside the point, saying so federal government is not superior to state. That's not what is here before us. That Supreme Court has said, go and get this money direct to the local government. That's it. There's not the issue of superiority does not come in. Well, whatever is superior, not even the Supreme Court, what is superior is the interpretation of the Supreme Court. And there's no other interpretation that can vary that.
That's a final.
That's final.
Okay, for states like Rivers and some other states with caretaker committee chairman, what will become their fate now?
What I know is this. I just follow the ball. Supreme Court says, pay directly to local government. What now happens in the local government as per, well, if you are looking at the legality or otherwise of the status of the people in authority, that's beside the point. The money goes to the local government. Let's say Takina, whatever, Degema, or local government or something there is now being handled by, instead of a local government chairman, did the law say pay to a local government chairman or pay to the local government? Pay to the local government.
With a democratically elected chairman.
If that's chairman. Yes, if that's the order, you follow it, then you dissolve those people. If the order says that democratically elected government in place in local government, that's where the money goes to. That's where the money goes to. If you are not democratically elected, then you have to be disbanded and an election conducted. That is it.
Okay, but for a state like Lagos, Osun, and of course Ondo State, if I'm not wrong, with local council development areas, what do you think is going to happen to them? How will they function? Knowing full well that the grassroots is the closest government to the people.
Yes. Well, to me, it's still in fact, there's nothing dicey there. If a local government exists, and that is what what do you call it? That's what the Supreme Court directs. That's what you follow. Then from the local government that has some units, SCDAs, it is all, and you know, it's always has been a political arrangement. Really, right from the time of Bola Tinubu as governor of Lagos. You know, the SCDA, which has been copied by some other states, like you've mentioned, but it was Bola Ahmed Tinubu as governor of Lagos State that pioneered that thing, which I really think is good. But now that the Supreme Court says it should be paid, for example, I know of Oshodi, it's all a local government. There's an Oshodi, it's all a local government. You pay the money to the coffers of Oshodi, it's all a local government. The SCDA that have been taken out from there,
It's all LCDA.
it's all SCDA. When you go to, you share it now, you know, they know the ratio. And that is, you see, when you have good faith, you have no problem. It's when you have no faith, you have your bad faith, that's when you begin to imagine problem. There's no problem. If there have been 3 SCDAs from a local government, it goes to the local government as per the directive of the Supreme Court, and from the local government, it dissolves into the subcomponents. It's as simple as that. It's not a problem.
Okay, I was running through a particular newspaper recently, and I'm quoting part of the editorial of that newspaper now, which says that the Supreme Court goved in its judgment as the LGs have no place in a federal constitution. Therefore, one of the fundamental flaws of the 1999 constitution is to list the 774 LGs in it. This must be corrected, according to the editorial of that newspaper.
Yes, I disagree. Yeah, I disagree, in fact, unreservedly. You know, what does a court work with?
The Constitution.
It works with the Constitution, it works with legislation, it works with laws. Does it work with concepts? If it works with concepts or policy, it is to achieve the aim of the law. There is the Constitution that says 7 and 74. Somebody is now talking of the principle. Where is that rooted? Principle of federalism. It is only the federal government and the component states. To me, that is theory. Constitution says LGs, local government areas, LGAs, recognize them, mention them. In fact, specifically, specific 774. So somebody is now saying, but that is against, local government is not known to principles of federalism. That's fancy. That's intangible. That's mere conceptualization. We are talking of law. Law that can be very viable law. So what do you now do with those local governments that's recognized? When we have been suing, people have been suing local government have been suing people because the principle of law that once you have recognized a body in law, you can be sued. You understand? So what happens to them? We now ignore them and we now say no. Supreme Court did not move. If there's any government at all, is the legislature that has created the local government in the Constitution. A reasonable court will follow the law. And the ground norm of all laws in Nigeria is the Constitution. So you follow the Constitution. I disagree with them.
Okay, with this judgment now, what will be the impact on the quality of people that we have governing us at the local government level? And in terms of a development as well, is it going to fast track development at the grassroots compared to what we used to have?
Yes, I ordinarily, that's what will happen. Ordinarily, but Nigeria is an interesting socio-political community. Ordinarily, if money now comes to you directly, free,
and now decide to give you a governor.
Yes, comes to you free directly, and you are supposed now to use that money for the purpose meant. That is socio-economic development of your areas. You understand? You have to manage the funds for the people. But if you manage the funds for your pocket, if you manage the funds for your political party, if you manage the funds for your cronies, if you use the money in a prebentalist way, then that is the Nigerian factor at play. And at any rate, I would expect the financial,
EFCC,
ICPC, all those kind of institutions, even the Nigerian police, now to begin to focus. I expect more chairmen to be landing in detentions and prosecution centers called the courts because of this autonomy, because at least 50% of them will misuse the autonomy.
Okay, we'll get to find out during the course of the program. You are still watching the Pendulum on Lagos Television. We'll take another quick break on the program to bring you the soundbite of the week.
Legal work leading to this eventual victory was driven by the desire of the current administration to promote good governance, stimulate the welfare and development of our people, enhance peace, and combat insecurity at the grassroots in line with the constitutional mandate of the government. There is also the need to introduce measures to ensure uniformity and security of tenure for local government officials across the country.
As chairman of finance, I will ensure that every month, the moment the allocations goes out, we will publish it in the papers for Nigerians to see how much has come to their local government.
We are still focusing on the landmark Supreme Court judgment granting financial autonomy to the 774 local government areas as recognized in the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. And I still have in the studio Barrister Shino Ogunlano. Okay, before that break, you did say that you expect the ICPC and the EFCC now to beam their searchlight more on the local government administration in the country because of this financial autonomy. But as people living at the grassroots level, what are those kind of demands that we should begin to ask from our chairman?
Very, very, very simple. Roads, health. This idea of general hospitals being controlled, being funded only by the state governments. That one now that you have the money, you have the money. You are not being given the money to marry third wives or third husbands, as it could be. It's to the people. The markets, investment in agricultural production, primary schools, education, and even power. Even power. Imagine what says that, except it's on the exclusive list and everything, somebody is saying, oh, I have to make sure that my people have potable water. More portable things that, what do the grassroots care for?
Just the basic.
Just the basic things. They are not thinking of living in castles or mansions. They are not thinking of driving in Lexus, Jeeps or something. They are not even thinking of living in air-conditioned rooms or something. But basic, simple needs and good roads. In fact, I can use Lagos as an example. Many of the local governments, the roads there are bad. The main roads are good, the ones you could see. But inner city roads are not good. We expect you to have more money there. Clinics, more less pricey supply of medicine, especially to the kids. Provision for aged people, senior citizens. A senior citizen like me, and much older people like that, like you've mentioned, primary school, and I will expect local government workers to be better paid.
Okay.
They are the workers there. The more money is there.
Okay, does this judgment come to you like we are beginning to have a semblance of restructuring or true federalism?
I would say to me, is political growth. Is political growth, because like I said, ordinarily there shouldn't have any problem about this, assuming that we have developed political mentality. But that you need to struggle after 25 years, even now that they have won at the Supreme Court, you still see some interesting characters still opposing it. And you know that there will be political godmasters somewhere who will make sure that this victory is Pyrrhic. Yoruba people say, Oju elori ete oba. In theory, yes, the money is supposed to be coming. But you remember that President Buhari did the same thing by way of what they call executive order.
Yeah.
The governors oppose it. It's not legal. You cannot be. Now somebody has gone to court now, and the court has now put the judicial imprimatur on it. But in pragmatic. Backward pragmatic Nigerian politics, you see godmasters, godfathers, twisting the arm of this council and declare that forget Abuja, here we are in our local government, here we are in Afiji local government, this is how we are going to do it in our party and everything like that. So the victory will only be realized by the actions of the people. Even this government has been proactive in this, and I give kudos to the Tinubu administration in this regard. Now it's the people itself. I expect more agitations in the local government, at the grassroots. People say, Mr. Chairman, maybe money don't come now. You cannot be hiding on other governor. Governor take your money. Governor has not taken the money. Why are we still like we are before this
judgment?
Before this judgment, because if you don't ask, you won't be given, particularly in Nigeria, where the political elite, they are usually selfish, arrogant and wicked and greedy. So the people will have to be asking, I will expect more grassroots journalism now. More agitation, more protest group to ask. You don't need to be confrontational, but to ask, to be demanding for accountability and transparency. We want to know how much evil is coming to our local government directly now. You can't hide under, for example, in Lagos, say, Governor Sanwo-Olu, this is not Governor Sanwo-Olu now. There's nobody. How much money came to Mushin? How much money came to Badagry local government? Or whichever, it's just or whatever. People should, because part of the problem, we are blaming the political elites and all that. But our people, the citizens themselves, they are just too lazy.
We ask questions.
We don't ask questions, we don't demand. You understand? So when we ask questions, because democracy must be, to be effective, must be participatory. Must be participatory. It's like a yin-yang, yin-yang. You must, it's like you are hungry. I say, daddy, I did food, you have not paid my school fees, you just keep quiet. So it's about going, is it God that you will know that your school fees has not been paid? It's supposed to, but if he says he doesn't know, people can accuse us, did you ask your dad? Did you ask your mom?
So people should begin to ask questions.
Yes, questions from this council and chairman of local government, these councillors and all that. And I will expect the councillors who are the parliament at the local government level
to be more engaging.
To be more engaging for the constituencies they are representing.
All right. Interesting perspective on the landmark judgment of the Supreme Court granting financial autonomy to the 724 local government areas in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, coming from Barrister Shina Ogunlana this evening on the program. So we hope that we'll begin to see that impact of that judgment in terms of development and, of course, quality of governance at the grassroots level in Nigeria. We thank you very much for your time on the program.
Thank you so much. Yes.
That's the show this evening. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back again next week talking politics as usual on the Pendulum. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. I'll see you then. Bye for now.